Namaste, all of you. Welcome once again to this last part of the three-part series on yoga and mental health. And today's topic, as you would see there, is psychophysiological balance and emotional resilience. This is the last part of the series on yoga and mental health, and we will deal with how we need to have this balance and resilience for our mental health. So let us start with the prayer. Seat yourself comfortably. Your hands and your feet well rested. Take a comfortable position, preferably cross-legged. Those of you who can sit in Padmasana can do that. Just try to anchor yourself and your whole body so that your back is comfortably erect. Gently close your eyes. Start noticing all the sensations in your body. Wherever you feel any obstacle in the sense of strain, tension, consciously put your attention and relax. Relax all the parts of your body as much as possible. Pay special attention to your facial muscles, especially your forehead. Relax. And now focus on your natural breath. Now let us fold our hands, your palms touching each other in Namaskar Mudra. Take a long, deep breath and recite the prayer Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishadvamataram. Dishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Stay in the silence of the prayer and its vibrations for a couple of moments. Whenever you are ready, you may gently open your eyes. So once again, good morning to all of you. And let us look at how we can have psychophysiological balance and emotional resilience as a part of taking our mental health seriously. What are the techniques that are available in yoga for this balance and resilience that we need to have in our day-to-day life? So you'll see the title slide there, and then I will go on to the next slide. Just give me a moment, please. Okay. So let's look at this particular slide on the body, breath, mind relationship. So you will see that these three entities that you have in front of you, your mind, your body, and your breath. So every human being has these three entities. Now what we want to see is the relationship between these three entities. And you will see that the arrows are two-way arrows, which means it indicates that each and every entity is interrelated, interconnected. So that's what we will see in the next slide, which talks about interconnectedness. So now, just so that you understand this whole mind, body, breath complex and the interconnectedness better, let's look at a few day-to-day life examples. So now, in the next point on the slide there, I have a pair of body and breath. And you will see that the arrows are again two-way arrows. So what I want to explain to you here, and what I in fact want you to think over here, is let us first look at the first connection between body to breath, and then we will look at the other side of the connection, breath to body. So we will take these three pairs and look at it. So think of a situation wherein you are doing something to your body and your breath is getting affected. So what you're doing is to your body, but your breath is getting affected. And the other side, let us think of a situation wherein you are doing something to your breath and your body is getting affected. So if you already have thought of something, very good. Let us see what I have here. So both the points will be flashed there. So body to breath. When you run, you're doing something to your body, but your breath is getting affected. Next point, deep breaths. So when you are doing something to your breath, that means you're taking deep breaths and your body is getting affected, your body is feeling relaxed. And in the first pair there, that is body to breath, when you're running, your breath, how is it becoming? Fast, rapid breath, quick and shallow. It's not slow and deep. So you see that you're doing something to one entity, but the other entity is getting affected. Now let's go on to the next pair of body to mind and mind to body. So think of a situation wherein you are doing something to your body and your mind is getting affected. And think of a situation that something is happening to your mind and your body is getting affected. Let's look at some examples here. So say you're doing something to your body, clench your fists and your teeth. How does your mind feel? You're doing something to your body, but how does your mind feel? Agitated, irritated, not a very relaxed situation, right? Now think of something that you're doing to your mind. You're thinking of a nice place that you have been to on your vacation and how much you enjoyed that place. You're getting happy thoughts into your mind. How does your body feel? Full of energy, relaxed, positive energy. So you see the connection now between this pair, body to mind and mind to body. Now, let's look at the third pair, breath to mind and mind to breath. So let's look at a situation wherein you do something to your breath and your mind gets affected. You do something to your mind and your breath gets affected. What are those situations? So try to deep breathe, slow and long breaths. So your breaths are deeper. How does your mind feel? Doesn't your mind feel relaxed, calm? And we talked a lot about in this whole series about that. And try to imagine a situation wherein you have an angry mind. How does your breath feel at that time? You can't really breathe properly, can you? It's a short breath. It's a very shallow breath. It's happening quickly. So now our intention behind looking at the interconnections between all three pairs gets back to the next slide there, wherein we again have that triangle there of body, mind, and breath, and how those two-way arrows function. Now, after looking at the interconnections between all these three entities, we want to focus on a particular thing related to breath, because today our focus is breath. What we are going to do is breath work in various ways, simpler ways, maybe a little bit effortful ways. So we return back to the slide there and we see that the breath component, why is it important? So imagine you are having negative thoughts, your body does not feel relaxed. Either both or just one, but both are going to be there because they are interconnected. And you have breath in the midst of it. Now, can you, because your mind is a monkey, can you tell your mind and your brain, I don't want to think this? And your mind will listen to you. Do you have so much of mastery over your mind? Difficult, right? Your body feels relaxed. Can you directly start controlling your body? Is that possible? Difficult, right? So, what is the bridge? The bridge is your breath. And yeah, it's the earlier slide that will be flashed of the mind, body, breath diagram, wherein the breath shows as the entity that has to be, that is the bridge between the mind and the body. And you will see there. So what I want to explain to you here is that the path to controlling your mind or regulating your mind and your bodily functions, your bodily sensations, lies in the control of your breath. Your breath is very important because your breath is the only process which is involuntary, meaning it is automatic, it just happens. Just like body temperature and its regulation is involuntary, breath is an involuntary process. But it is the only process that you can make voluntary, which means that although it is involuntary, you have the power to control it. And this particular breathing process is the cusp, is the bridge between your body and your mind. If you work on your breath, then you have the ability to influence your psychology and physiology. Psycho-physiological aspect that you want to influence in your entire human system is through the breath. That is why breath is very important. And you can notice this. Anything that happens to you, the first influence will be on your breath. If you are aware of your breath and how it is functioning, then you will know that something is wrong. If for that you have to first know your normal breath. For that you have to know how is your breath. You have to know yourself. Breath is the very life force. If you don't breathe, you will die. So if you don't know your breath, you don't know yourself. That's the first entity that you should know. So knowing your breath is the key. And that is why it is very important, because whatever is happening in your mind, whatever is happening in your entire body, the breath is the mirror. If you are sensitive to your breath, you have the key. So let us, and that is why the breath, your own breath is so important. Let's go on to the next slide there, which talks about the breath again and the very life force and why it is so important and some other points. Now, what I'm going to show to you today first is correct normal breathing, which is the first point there on the slide. And what is correct normal breathing? Have you ever observed a baby breathing when it is sleeping? How does the baby breathe? How does the baby's belly move? It goes up and it goes down. Goes up, goes down. That's baby breathing. And you can observe this even when you are lying down. But if you have observed a baby, because the baby doesn't have any other conditioning related to it, it is in its most natural form, you can just see the baby breathing when it is sleeping. So that is correct normal breathing. And that is what you have to understand. Your belly out, your belly in. And I want to demonstrate this to you. Maybe you all already know this, but there is no harm in, once again, just showing this to you properly so that you have a better idea of correct normal breathing. Because just knowing correct normal breathing, you can work wonders with your body and mind. And how? We will look at it in the, we will look at it in a bit. So I'm going to place one hand, the palm of my one hand on my belly, and the other hand I'm going to place on my chest. And what I want to show you today is abdominal breathing, which is the correct normal breathing for human beings. So what will happen when I breathe in such a way that my belly is working is my belly will move out and in, whereas my chest will not. So you can observe here. So you all already know what I'm talking about. And if y'all are not able to really see that very nicely, I just want to show you the direction. It's this. Out, in. Now, one thing you have to remember is when you inhale, your belly is getting bloated. That means it's moving out. And when you exhale, your belly is going in. So observe once again. So I'm going to inhale, and at that time my belly will move out, and when I exhale, my belly will move in. So that is correct normal breathing. Now, what I want to also tell you here is that if you would have observed in the next point on the slide, when we get back to the slide, we will see that I am going to talk to you about lowering the breath rate. Now, why is this important? Why is lowering the breath rate important? First, I showed to you what is correct normal breathing. And if you observed carefully, my breaths were slower and deeper. It was not rapid. It was not happening like this. It was happening like this. Or just to give you that idea, it was happening like this. This was how my belly was. It was not happening like this. So my breaths were slower and deeper and longer. I tried to take in as much air as possible while inhaling, and tried to, while exhaling, I tried to take a longer exhalation, do a longer exhalation. So now talking about lowering the breath rate. Now you have to understand that what is the mathematics related to it. A normal human being, if he or she is taking, say, 20 breaths per minute, then the calculation of the breath rate to heart rate is 1:4. So if your breath per minute is 20, then your heart rate is going to be 4 times of that, which is 80. You have those variables, right? These days, the fitness trackers, and it display the heartbeats per minute to you. You have those trackers. But we can monitor this very well. Having the tracker, very good. You get an average of your heartbeats per minute, but it's very easy for you to monitor yourself. So now having a heart rate of 80 heartbeats per minute is okay, but not really that good. Because if your breathing is 20 per minute, your heart rate is going to be 80 per minute. Now, our whole intention is to reduce the breaths per minute so that your resting heart rate is also reduced. Why is this important? Because the more your heart is beating per minute, the more energy it needs. Which means that if your heart keeps beating, then it has to work more, which means that it will get exhausted more, which means that you will live less. If you have a very rhythmic function of the heart, wherein the heart is beating very slowly, just like your breath, and 1:4. So say we can reduce the heart rate to 60, which is like good, not bad. It can get even better, but 60 is a good resting heart rate to start with. And how should your breath be? If it is 1:4, then you are reducing from 20, you are reducing it to 15 breaths per minute. So that's when you start breathing correctly. You have your full abdomen functioning. Now, what we want to do when we are talking about yoga and awareness and creating psychophysiological balance and working with your breath and having a state of relaxation, we want to reduce the breath to say 5 or 6 breaths per minute. Is that possible? I just did it in front of you. I was doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My belly comes back to normal. Exhale. 5 seconds. Inhale. 5 seconds. Exhale. So my one breath, which includes inhalation and exhalation, went on for 10 seconds. And you can do it, say, 6 seconds, 6 seconds, which means that one breath can be 12 seconds. So we want to have 5 to 6 breaths per minute. It's possible, right? You can do 5 inhale, 5 exhale, or 6 inhale, 6 exhale. 5 is very much possible for you. If not 5, you do 4, which means that your one entire breath will come to 8. But let's, for convenience, take the figure of 5 and 5, which means 1 minute has 60 seconds. And if you take one breath of 10 seconds, 5 inhale and 5 exhale, then what have you achieved? You have reduced your breath per minute, that is your breath rate, to 6 breaths per minute. 6 fours are 24. Your heart rate has come to 24. Okay, maybe not 24, 30. That's great, right? If your resting heart rate is 30, your heart is having so much less work. And you must have heard about these ancient yogis and rishis. They could stop their heart from beating. How do you think they lived 300, 400 years? Their heart did not have so much work to do. Their entire body, mind did not age. So this is the key. Why do we wear these fitness trackers? We want to keep a track of our average heart rate. But please know that this is very much related to the life energy, the life breath within you. How do you influence your heart rate? Influence your breath, change your breath rate. It's so easy to influence your heart rate. Of course, it's not so easy. You need conscious awareness. Many a times, it so happens that you are not breathing correctly or you're not even breathing properly. So correct breathing is the abdominal breathing that I showed you. If not anything, then at least have correct breathing. So now let's go on to the next point there. So always sit upright for correct breathing in day-to-day life. That is very important. If you sit upright, then only correct breathing can occur. The next point on the slide there, slower and longer the breathing, greater is your sense of relaxation that you will experience when you do the slow and long breathing. And the next point there, through our breath, we can regulate our emotions and thoughts. How is that possible? Because the breath center in our brain is very close to the emotion center in our brain. So it's difficult to influence the mind and the emotion directly, and we adopt the via path of going through breath. Influence your breath, you are able to influence your thoughts and emotions. When you regulate your breath, you are increasing the stock of energy inside you, which means that you will have more energy in your life. And paying close attention to how our breathing is and making it slow, deep, and long is the key to all the three common psychological problems that we talked about, that is stress, anxiety, and depression. Also, you must have observed that breath is the key. Why? Because it's the bridge to your body and mind. And it's the best way to take care of your mental health. Just normally, just by doing normal breathing and paying attention to just lowering your breath rate per minute. You may not reach 6 breaths per minute, but maybe you can reach 10 breaths per minute. From 20, if you reach 10, then you have reduced your heart rate to 40. That also is very good. And befriend your breath. Your breath is your best friend. Know it, understand it, befriend it. So that's about our normal breath. And now I want to talk to you about the yogic breath in the next slide. So we can flash all the points on the slide and go on to the next slide of yogic breath, which is the 3-part breath. So the full yogic breath has 3 parts to it. The most important part is what we saw right now, which is abdominal breathing. But it also has 2 more parts, which is a type of breathing known as clavicular breathing. This is your clavicle, your collarbone, and you see that rising, that's clavicular breathing. And so you will sense this immediately because in the next point it will be shown that the shoulders and the collarbone is getting raised. So this is one type of breathing. It's the shallowest type of breathing. And your abdomen is slightly getting contracted during inhalation when you do clavicular breathing. This is the least effective component of the 3-part breath, that is the full yogic breath. Now, there is a second type of breathing, which is chest breathing. And what is the action that will happen? The chest is going a little forward and backward. So the chest, it's your rib cage. So if you see the rib cage, it's just getting expanded like this. So laterally there is expansion. Chest breathing. So this is okay. It's still a shallow breath. And so the rib cage is getting expanded because your rib muscles are expanding there. And the next type of breathing, if we can flash that, abdominal breathing that I talked to you about, is the slow, deep breathing, wherein you have proper use of the diaphragm. And I would request the media person to go on to the next type of breathing where we can show the diagram of the diaphragm. So you will see there the diaphragm, it is a muscle fiber which has a C shape, like inverted, inverted U. And in abdominal breathing, what is happening is, so if your diaphragm is like this, your diaphragm is getting contracted like this. So imagine what is happening. The lungs inside your rib cage, it's getting so much from here to here when it comes to diaphragm, then so much area is getting expanded for your lungs to move. So that is why it is the most important part of your breathing, abdominal breathing, because your diaphragm, it is getting contracted and creating space for your lungs to improve your lung capacity. Now, let's go back to the slide there, and we will see that abdominal breathing, it brings air to the lowest and the largest part of the lungs. And it is the most effective part of the full yogic breath, which is the three-part breath. Now, I would again like to demonstrate this for you. And so what I want to mainly demonstrate is the sequence, because that's important. And so again, I keep my one hand on my chest and one hand on my abdomen. What is the sequence of the full part yogic breath? So you know that abdominal breathing is the most important part. So what you will do is, you will first do abdominal breathing, then you will do chest breathing, and then you will do clavicular breathing. Which means what is happening is you are getting the full capacity, full vital capacity of the lungs. So just one time I will show you. So while inhaling, your abdomen is getting bloated first, then your chest is getting expanded, and your shoulders will rise. That's the sequence. But when you exhale, if you observed, the sequence is reserved. First, your shoulders will come down, then the chest will go slightly in, and then the abdomen will go slightly in. So it's the reverse sequence which is going to happen in the full yogic breath. So having demonstrated to you how do you get full lung capacity, now we will go to the next slide, which talks about yogic breath, yogic breathing through BHRAMARI. That is the BHRAMARI pranayama. So we'll see in the next slide there, BHRAMARI pranayama. And what is BHRAMARI pranayama? It's the humming sound. Who does this humming sound in nature? Bhramar. What is Bhramar? Bumblebee. Not the honeybee, although they are close relatives, but the bumblebee. And I will show you how the Indian bumblebee looks. So in the videos and the sessions that preceded these sessions, you did see and you did get to know BHRAMARI pranayama, because various people have demonstrated this to you. If we have a little bit of time there, I will demonstrate at least once to you. But let's look at some of the important points that we need to consider about BHRAMARI pranayama and which will enhance your practice. Yes. So the first point there, exhale a little longer than you normally inhale. So that's important, because why? Your humming sound is in your exhalation. So try to make use of the yogic breath so that your lung capacity is improved, your diaphragm is working. It's also, abdominal breathing is also called diaphragmatic breathing. So because the BHRAMARI pranayama is happening mainly during exhalation, that is the simple BHRAMARI pranayama is happening mainly during exhalation, the humming is happening there. You try to exhale a little longer than you inhale. Now, the most important thing, the next point, it's the nasal sound, not the vocal sound. So, no, not mo, not the makar, but then no. So that's important. And another tip there to enhance the practice, which happens automatically, but maybe it would do you good to remember, the tip of the tongue, let it touch your upper palate where your teeth start. So if you keep it there, it enhances the nasal sound. And you must have probably observed the bumblebee. These species are getting extinct, but still you may have observed. So it's a low-pitched, flat sound. There is no variation. It's a flat sound. If it's a flat sound, that means your exhalation has to be controlled. And every bit, every fraction of the exhalation has to be same. Only then you will have that flat sound. So it's a low-pitched, flat sound. There is no tapering. When the tapering comes, cut the humming. In Bhramari, no tapering. It's a flat, even sound, low-pitched, and if you have breath remaining, just exhale the breath without the sound. Now, I want to show you the picture of the Indian bumblebee, at least two species which I really had to search on the internet because these species, they are sort of getting endangered also. Why I want to show you the picture of a bumblebee is when you do something, when you live yoga, you have to experience it. So when you are doing Bhramari Pranayam and you have the bumblebees images flashed over there, you imagine yourself to be that bumblebee. So the black one there, it's more common to Maharashtra and the Western Ghats, and the colorful one there, that's a picture of a bumblebee from old Manali. One of the foreigners had just, casually captured that. But the essence is that of the bumblebee, which is going about its business, sucking honey from the flowers, pollinating, giving us all this nature and the trees and, the fruits and the flowers. So just imagine yourself, live the experience of the bumblebee, if possible, when you're trying to do the Bhramari Pranayama. So let's get back to the earlier slide there. And two important things that I want to tell you about Bhramari Pranayam is that it is the best practice for stress, anxiety, and depression. It's the single practice that can go for all these three at one go. Just do Bhramari Pranayam. If you have stress, anxiety, depression, they will get reduced. The only thing is that keep up your practice. It's not going to happen overnight. Just doing 5 Bhramari Pranayam, getting the effect, that's not going to happen. Try to increase the duration in your practice. Try to get it to at least 20 minutes of Bhramari Pranayam in your day-to-day life, if possible, if you do have stress, anxiety, and depression in your life. And the last part there is what the session is all about, restoring psychophysiological balance. Bhramari Pranayam, because of the sound, and we saw the effect of self sounds yesterday, because of the humming and because of the breath regulation, because of the conscious posture, all this is activating your parasympathetic system, due to which it is automatically restoring your psychophysiological balance. Once you are perfectly balanced in your body and mind, then you are resilient. You're emotionally resilient to the stresses, the strains, the anxiety, and the depression in your day-to-day life. So that's how your breath can build balance and resilience. Now, I'll take 1 minute there to demonstrate Bhramari Pranayam to you, and that will end my session there after I demonstrate it. Maybe for 3 repetitions, I will just do the Bhramari Pranayam for you. And so, all the points that I talked to you about Bhramari Pranayam, just try to observe. Try to adopt the chin mudra, which locks all your energy. So the 3-part yogic breath, and then the humming sound, longer exhalation, and the nasal sound. So that's the correct way to do BHRAMARI pranayam, taking into consideration all the points that we talked about. And you can keep practicing this. As I said, repetition, practice, no shortcuts to it. So don't cut down on your practice. If there is a problem in your life, please address it, especially stress, anxiety, and depression are common problems. Try to correct your breathing, try to do the pranayam, especially BHRAMARI. Also, other people have shown you different pranayam that you can do in your day-to-day life, and take your mental health seriously. That's what I would like to request all of you. It's something that you have to pay attention to. Don't sulk if you're depressed. Don't just keep your anxiety to yourself. Start getting help, talk to people, do your practices. You will definitely be a more peaceful person, a more relaxed person, a person who has balance in life, who is resilient because of that psychophysiological balance in life. And with that, I would like to end the session with the prayer, Purnamadaha. So gently close your eyes while being seated comfortably. Pay attention to all your body parts. Keep your forehead relaxed. Focus on your natural breath. Join your hands in Namaskar Mudra. Take a long, deep breath. Make sure that your back is comfortably erect. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Whenever you are ready, gently open your eyes. So thank you very much, everybody, for staying with us all throughout and getting the knowledge and practicing with us and celebrating the International Day of Yoga, which is tomorrow. That's the finale of this whole celebration. And I wish you all the very best on this yogic path in your journey of life. All the best, and thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.